I'm both. It was a big honor for me to be chosen by Robert and have this opportunity because, like he said, we start doing movies because of watching his first movie, Mariachi. So you don't have my friend there in Chile, really far, right? Far south, and suddenly we see this, you hear the story about Robert, and we're like, we gotta get out there with the camera and just start making movies. And a couple of years after, I received this phone call, and it's like, it's so strong, it's so strong how life, put that thing together. So imagine arriving in the set, having this experience with all these great people, and this family feeling that it's so special. It's not easy to find this. It's like people don't give too much importance to this, but it's this so important, like to what he have created about this family energy that they're just having fun. He's just doing what he loves to do, and he's being consequent of what he loves to do. It's like he don't care. He just do what he loves, and he brings people with this energy, and you feel that, and it's powerful. It's
no egos on his side.
Thankful, so thankful for this,
Thank you. Danny, this is where I want to point out that Danny goes back to when I first interviewed him for Animal Factory.
Wow.
Really humble, and you still are now. And my hat goes off to you because I like what you've done throughout the years. Robert, the old Merrimack days, does a lot of. It's good to see you grow. So a lot of people come up and say, "Who you guys admire?" I have to go back to you guys because you guys have done a lot of work, and it's great to see the characters that you help other people come up and talk about those things.
It's been great to be able to make these kind of movies where you, just being a fan of all the talent we get to work with over the years, to get to really honor their talent and give them a different kind of role to play and expand the universe of what we do. At the same time, try to inspire the audience to go make their own movies and have their own voice and just have more voices out there to represent.
Robert.
I've got to say, Robert's as much a teacher as he is a director and an editor. My son worked on the first movie, and the second one he asked if he could just shadow Robert. Robert taught him everything. My son's doing a film right now called Snapshot, and it was thanks to Robert Rodriguez that taught him what to do, what to see, what to look for, and so he's like he's doing a movie right now, and it was cool because they didn't ask me for money. They got it on.
Quickstarter.
Oh, that's cool, and he's co-directing and producing the film right now, and that's what he does. He's not like Hollywood. It's like there was this big secret like Hollywood, and it's not. It's like an open kind of thing. We have tours coming through the studio, and it's like he will share anything, and I think that's a gift. There's a special place in heaven for teachers, and he's a teacher.
Can you tell we're hungry?
Robert, I'm Mabel Aragon from NBC News Radio.
Hello.
I've had the pleasure of seeing it in Leave and different
Oh, yeah.
events. But what I wanted to say is, obviously, the concept of this movie, the character of Machete, is something that you believed in a while back. It was something that you wanted to do for a long time. And I understand that early on you did a trailer that you referred to as mixploitation. That kind of caught my attention. Can you explain that a little more about what you did?
It was when I was doing Grindhouse. We were going to do some fake trailers, Quentin and I told him, well, I got one for a movie that I always wanted to do. We never got a chance to do it. It was called Machete. And he thought, that's a great idea. So like a mexploitation movie. And so we made the trailer, and I thought it was just something, we wanted to see. And we kind of made the trailer, got it out there, and kind of forgot about it. And people kept coming up to us, especially Danny, and saying, you should make that as a feature. You're crazy. That's be your biggest character ever. He's been in over 200 movies, and now he's known as Machete. Because it was a very new thing to see a Hispanic action hero in a mexploitation movie, and there was never mexploitation movies. It just made so much sense that it should have existed, and it didn't. It confused people, and they wanted to see more of it. So we went ahead after a couple of years of people just saying, make that movie. And we made it. And then after the first film, that took off, and people kept discovering it and asking for 2 years after that for a sequel. So we made another one, and I didn't want to wait for permission to do a third, so I kind of put a little bit of the third in this one. That way, in case there wasn't a third, I'd have the neat hat trick of having a trilogy done in only 2 movies.
But do you think maybe there will be?
There could be, if the audience. This series has been completely decided and desired by the audience. It's been one of the very strange movie experiences for me. One that the audience supported so much that I had to listen, and that the character wanted to come into being so much that he made himself exist.
Never say never with him.
Hi, this question is for Marco. This really is your breakout American role. A very high-profile film, high-profile director, and co-stars. But the action is so important in this film. How closely did you work with your stunt coordinators and with Robert in developing your character and the specific stunts and martial arts moves that you were doing?
Well, yes. As soon as I arrived, I was really lucky to have some very experienced stunt people, but like Robert said, there was not a lot of planning, really short shooting, so we have to being in the set and coordinate and choreograph all the fights at the spot at the moment, and I was doing options, different scenes, and then showing to Robert and say, oh, I like that one, and then he, and we try to come up, improvise at the moment. So
if he would have practiced, nobody would have shot. We would have watched him because it was so amazing. Some of the stuff he does. I've seen a lot of what he does done before, but with wires. You know what I mean? It's like a Hollywood trick, and it was like there were no wires. And watching him do this was just amazing. So Machete beats him.
We were having a lot of fun with the fights and everything, and yeah, it was a really fun shooting. A lot of adrenaline, because I remember one moment we were shooting on the two sets at the same time. So while we're resetting in one, then the whole crew ran to the other one, shoot while they're resetting the other. So we were days like that.
He was the star of both sets. He was working both sets.
It was very intense and a lot of adrenaline. Like Danny said,
it was trio.
For Robert, what is your way to make movies? Because we can see elements with great technology and rustic element with the Machete. Do you think your movies are surrealistic, fantastic?
Yeah, I mean, all the movies I make, whether they're kids movies or Sin Cities or action movies like this or horror films, they all have an element of fantasy. I mean, they're all fantastical. None of them are realistic, and part of it's my cartoonist background, I guess. I tend to be more comedic and fun, and just imaginative. Like somebody was saying, do we cross the line? We kind of see where the line is, and we start on the other side of the line. That's where we start, and then we go from there. Really don't want it to be held back, especially a movie like this, which needs to really surprise the audience and go unexpected places, which I think it goes unexpected the very first 2 minutes of the movie. And as soon as it's in space, you're like, okay, I didn't see that coming. We really want to just be surprising and as imaginative as possible.
Question for Danny. You've played this character Machete twice now. What have you learned from the uncompromising stance that he takes? What have you taken into your real life? What have you learned from this character?
Well, I've never been a person to take too many steps backwards. And when Robert told me about this character, he told me, he says, Danny, it's perfect for you. You don't even have to act. So I kind of, and sometimes he'll tell me, stop acting, So it's, I think he got a little bit of my personality and just stuck it in this guy that has no step backwards, and I enjoy this character because I really see him as the kind of guy that if somebody in the neighborhood gets sick, he'll go water their plants or mow their lawn, but if he catches somebody burglarizing their house, he'll kill them. You know what I mean? That was good.
Good.
The El Rey Network. I'm just choking on my peanuts here. The El Rey Network will audition December, and our first show, From Dusk Till Dawn, will be on in March. And it's action adventure network, English language, Hispanic network, but mainstream. Just like these movies are for everybody, that's what the network would be. So I'm really excited about it. It'll be a way to discover new talent and new voices.
Last question. I'm sorry. Did you collaborate with your brother Marcel on this? I'm curious, was that something that you kind of, at some point you thought you wanted to do, and what was that collaboration like? Was it easy?
Well, Marcel and I have worked together a lot. He also co-wrote Shark Boy and Lava Girl with me, and he's been a writer of my movies a lot, and an editor and a cameraman. My sister Rebecca, my co-editor on this, she's been with me a long time, since she was 9, collaborating on my movies. This one, I needed to come up with a script pretty quickly because we're going to go into Sin City 2, so I enlisted his help. And it was just fun, just sitting around with your brother, coming up with the story. Really, in a couple of weeks, we knocked out the whole, like a 40-page script that we then gave to Kyle Ward to finish out the script. And it's just a blast because when you work with somebody that you grew up with, you have the same references, you have the same interest in film references of things that you grew up with that you like, and so we kind of found it pretty fast when you have someone to bounce it off of. It's harder when you write by yourself. When you have someone to bounce off, it writes itself twice as fast, and it's almost as fun because it's like having an audience there. And if it's someone that you grew up with, then even more so, it resonates.
Marco, ¿cuánto tiempo te toma a ti prepararte para la película? O sea, ¿cuánto te...
2 minutos.
Sí, porque yo sé que eres un artista marcial y...
Sí, bueno, he entrenado... Sí, he entrenado toda mi vida artes marciales, pero cuando sé que me toca un rodaje, hago un entrenamiento especial que es resistencia a la potencia, para poder resistir la demanda de un rodaje muscularmente y no sufrir lesiones, porque son muy intensas las filmaciones. Entonces son varios meses de preparación muscular para poder resistir un rodaje. Wow. Entre 3 meses más o menos, con dieta, with a special diet
Wow, bastante. Y si gusta, puedes explicarlo en inglés también.
As a martial artist, I train all my life, but before a shooting, because it's so intense, there's like 3-month prep. Like when you prepare for a fighting or for a tournament, it's the same thing. For me, a movie is kind of the same demand because you're shooting the whole day, non-stop. So to prepare the body, it takes like at least 3 months, really high intense training with a special diet and everything to be able, your muscles don't get hurt and you're able to resist the shooting.
Alexa, one of my questions is for you is, Robert is known for his movies in terms of having strong female leads, and I think what's so fantastic is even you as a child in Spy Kids, you showed your femininity and how strong you were, how kick-ass you were, and it's so great to see you kind of carry that on. What would you say, though, to people that think, oh gosh, well, but the women are being really sexy? Because I feel like it's the modern-day feminism is what comes through in his movies. Can you kind of speak to that a little bit?
Well, I think either protecting something or standing up for something that they believe in, and Robert has always done that with every single one of his films, from his kids movies to his more grown-up films. And I think that's why when making this transition I felt most comfortable and confident and trusting with Robert to do that. You know, making a transition from a young actress to now is so hard to do. Nobody wants to necessarily take you seriously or see you in those roles, and you see so many girls kind of do it the wild way and get carried away with it. And it's a fine line. You kind of have to take baby steps. And Robert is so good at transforming women and doing it in a way that's very tasteful.
And there are no damsel in distress in this movie.
Oh, no. We are all strong, confident women.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And then we're going to set up.